well done. Hello. I'm Chris. And this is Tracey from Spiritual Acceleration. And
hello. Good morning, afternoon, whatever.
We're going to just talk a little bit today around one of the themes in Awaken the Shaman, which is what sort of separates it from sort of more kind of traditional shamanism. And it's the quality of energy, the energetics that we're working with. So in Awaken the Shaman, we begin to learn how to work and align with the light. So the light is divine energy. Actually, all of creation at some level is supported by divine energy, but this is sort of like a more direct expression of that energy before it densifies more into sort of kind of the stuff, the sort of divine webbing and kind of energetics that end up supporting other kinds of energies like astral kind of energies, the sort of etheric energies that sort of are behind the sort of vitality of living stuff, and then even physical energy, which is also made of this sort of divine kind of energy right at its core if you keep tracking into it. But what we're using is a sort of rarefied expression of light that is sort of very good at waking up and releasing sort of patterns of stuck sort of energy substance in these different forms. And so part of what we're learning to do is to become receptive vehicles for that. You have to sort of, actually, this is a very natural expression of divinity that we're all sort of swimming in, but to sort of make use of it effectively for healing, we sort of need to open and align our system with these higher frequencies of light. And that's part of the training. So actually at the core of all living things, there is this divine light, this divine thread. And we sort of are sort of having to, as if you're dropping past, sort of dropping under all of creation and listening deeper for that divine light. And then as we're in touch with it, we sort of open more deeply, and it's sort of like almost a letting go. Something in us has to open. And for us, we're really interested in deep in the core of our being and our heart, something opens to that divine energy, and then we become aligned with it and we can use it for healing. It's sort of, we become an open channel, we kind of get out the way. So it's really beautiful and transformative to be part of that. It feels like sort of being intimately part of sort of divine intention. And it's sort of, Tracey, do you have anything to share or comment on with the light?
Just that I came to the call a little unsettled, and as you were speaking that, I was calling the light in myself, and just the feeling that the resonance of it in my body, and it kind of the like you said, sort of like that depth and that openness and that surrender. And I think that when so for me, if I were to take the course, even to come away with that one single tool is a very useful life tool, just in aligning oneself with that. But then for me, the idea is it's like you're given that, you draw the light into yourself, you feel it in your own system. But then what's extremely powerful, and it was quite sort of like confidence building for me as well, was recognizing that when we then load that with intention and use it for healing, and then witnessing how powerful that can be.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And sort of, you were mentioning the sort of, you sort of felt that there's a relationship with love there. And I would say that's absolutely true, in that where that light is coming from is the same place as love. There's no real difference to it. So it's a very positive energy. So even if it's sort of, in some sense, you can say that there's something about sort of the underlying structure of reality that's quite neutral. Actually implicit within it is all this sort of thing that is love and kind of goodness. It has this kind of this movement towards life and sort of unconditional kind of support and love and holding. So it's very beautiful to engage with it. It really is very transformative. Yeah. So that's it's a beautiful way of putting it, what you said.
Especially when we consider, as we often do in our practices, when we're aligning to do our work, when we then also draw in the energy from the earth and get that to meet. Because I think the thing is with love, it's like, because we've kind of not confused it, but we identify it as the kind of love that we feel for one another, or that we feel for our children. It's got that kind of nurturing, it's got that softness, but it's also, when you bring in the light, it's recognizing the strength, the power, and I want to say, like, clarity, the clarity of love when it's loaded with intention.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think that all of those are sort of different qualities that we could talk about the divine, and that there's this great sense of incredible agency and power there, when it's sort of manifesting as that expression, and also clarity, or but they're all the different qualities we can look for, but it's sort of like, in that sense, that sort of everything is arising out of that. There's nothing which isn't sort of coming out from that same place of love and light and truth. And how it manifests depends on what's needed. So I think you'll notice that there are different qualities that can come out in a healing. And if you're listening to Bonnie, sort of sometimes there'll be a very different energy depending on what's needed to come out. And that's one of the sort of expressions of the divine, is its capacity just to manifest what's needed. So this, what could feel like very nurturing love, could also feel quite transformative and strong, sort of like it's actually breaking and destroying something that needs to be sort of cleared and sort of dispersed. So, but it's the same, it's just what's needed. It's just, and then when it's done,
with even like a brutality about it.
It only feels brutal for the ego,
yes.
But it's direct, and it's
direct.
It's just what's needed. It's yeah, and so that's why there are all these different depictions of divinity in different forms, because it has that quality of sometimes it's the sort of the compassionate heart that's needed, and other times it's something which, like just a force of nature, will sweep something that it's time to go. So it's I'd say that. But by more deeply aligning with the light and with that core of what we could also say is love, automatically what's needed sort of presents and arises. And that's sort of part of the mystery of the work, isn't it? That we don't quite know how the healing will unfold, but it's a combination of sort of what's going on with the person or the thing in front of us, and then divinity's response. And that could be so intricate and sort of unique, but we have to be open every time to what the divine wants to do. So it's such a wild ride. Yeah. Rock. Well, the course is coming up, so it's in about 2 weeks. Is our first module, and we're excited. Oh, hang on. It's the 22nd, isn't it? So
29th.
29th. Gotcha. Okay, that's another teaching day. So it's 3 weeks' time. I'm just too excited. But yeah, so that's the Awaken the Shaman will be beginning then. And if you'd like to join, we'd love to have you with us. But we're going to be doing a few more of these calls about the course, including one on Zoom, which I think would be a lot of fun. So we'll get to have a bit more of a direct conversation, maybe do some sort of healing journey, which is what I love doing as part of the Awaken the Shaman. Is taking us onto a journey into different sort of sacred sites and meeting the sort of beings that live there. That's a real highlight of that course for me. Anyway, anything to add, Tracey, before we close up?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right. Lovely to be with you, and see you all soon.
Hope to see some of you soon.